Right now, we're currently stuck in the For You page era, where our attention span has been monetized, where an algorithm gets to decide what we think and how we feel. See, I've posted many videos on TikTok, and that is the reason for me starting this channel, because I understand that there cannot be a true understanding of the message behind what I am trying to put out into this world without understanding all of the foundations that came before that message. One thing I've noticed about TikTok and one thing I noticed about the For You page is that people make a generalization or an assumption based off of one video, yet they don't understand that the context to how we even formulate that opinion, the context to how that intertwines with everything else is lost if we cannot go back. And that is going to be the main theme of my channel, Sankofa. So if you haven't heard of the term Sankofa before, it is a Khan. It comes from Ghana. It means that it is not taboo to go fetch what is lost. And so in this modern era, we often forget that the systems that we see that are in place in front of us, this reality in which we are currently living, it's just, it is. But we've lost that Sankofa. We've lost that ability to look back at what was before so that we can look into our future, not to predict, but to build. And so that is the importance of this channel, is that what I am going to give out into the world requires you to go back. It's going to require you to retain information, and if you don't understand information, to go back and fetch it. Like I said, it's not taboo to go do that. If anything, in order to build a future, you have to build on a strong foundation. No house is built without one. If you build on a weak foundation, it's meant to collapse. And that is what we are noticing right now in this world, in this reality, is that we have lost our ability to go back and draw value from the things of the past in order to understand our present so that we can create our future. And so my channel is going to be designed in a way that you, if you are new, if you have not been keeping up, that you can easily go back and receive the information that you need in order to understand what you are currently viewing or what is currently happening around you. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, happens without some type of consequence or action before. And that is one of the most important things that I also want to try and do on this channel, is to get people to think systemically. Nothing that you see that is happening right now is because of just one decision, because of just one policy, because of just one regime or administration. Everything that you see is systemic. Everything. There are patterns to this reality. There are patterns to the things that we see. And those patterns create systems. But in order to truly understand and deconstruct what is, so that you can build from that deconstruction, you must understand how to think systemically, because that is what these people in power, that is what the people around you do without you even realizing it. So when you're stuck trying to figure out what is happening, why is this happening, and then you try and go down the rabbit hole of figuring it out by looking at what is happening in this present day, you miss a lot of context. Because again, that Sankofa, going back, means that you are able to now unravel all of the things that are currently happening. And once you unravel it, and once you begin to understand how that system was formed, you begin to understand how it fails. And through failure, you learn. And through learning, you're able to create. And that is going to be the main antithesis of all of this creation, is that I want you to understand how to nation build. But in order to understand how to nation build, like I said, a house is built on a solid foundation. Before we can actually tangibly get out into this world and build anything for ourselves, we must build a foundation that is going to last, because if not, eventually that foundation gets rotted out. And everything that you build on top slowly begins to crush that foundation underneath, until you form a sinkhole and you're at the very same hole that you just climbed out of. So when it comes to nation building, when it comes to truly building something for ourselves, when it comes to the sovereignty that we long for, we can only build a truly sustainable society. We can only truly sustain what we have created by understanding and unraveling the systems that currently oppress us. And by unraveling, we are able to then build with the pieces, build from the ashes. The ashes are the perfect building material to build the future. See, in this day and age, we have a way of thinking that has lost its creativity. It's lost its ability to draw inspiration from a number of things in order to create. That is the biggest problem with this current world, is that people have forgotten how to create for themselves. See, before in the old world, things like food, things like shelter, housing, and whatever innovation that the community or the village needed was created by the people. But now we live in a society where that is all determined by somebody who has funding, somebody who has an idea that they can get a team or funding around, without realizing that it really just takes you to understand how you can use these ideas that you may have to create a tangible reality. See, those people are no different from you. Their ideas are really no different from you. Even without the funding, even without being a millionaire or billionaire, you are still able to create. You are still able to nation build. Because the first thing that is required to build a strong, lasting nation is a mindset. A weak-minded people will only build a weak-minded nation. A strong-minded people who has come from oppression, who has seen what the oppressor has done, who has lived in the systems that have created an environment that is like a plague, that has created an environment of extraction. You have lived in it. But without consciousness, without a conscious understanding, you will only end up replicating the exact same things that you were afflicted by before. So we must understand how to deconstruct these systems, how to point them out, but also have the creativity to be able to come up with tangible solutions. See, so many people on the internet are very good at pointing out problems. Not even just people on the internet, just people in general, right? You ask somebody about a situation, they can always point out the problem, but they can never give you a solution. And that is the difference between what I am trying to teach people and others. I'm going to give you a solution by giving you a way of thinking. And once you apply that way of thinking to anything, you understand that you are then able to build. See, it's very easy to point out a problem. It's very easy to say that this is wrong and that is wrong, and that this is happening and that is happening. But it takes a leveled mind. It takes a certain way of thinking, a certain level of consciousness in order to evaluate the wrongdoings of the world, but also with that evaluation, create something from it. Create a tangible solution, not just for the moment, but something that is sustainable, something that is long lasting. A nation lasts longer than an individual creation. See, some things are doomed to fail because without realizing that Sankofa, without going back and understanding that foundation, without understanding the systemic way of thinking, you are prone to create the exact same thing in a much more innovative way that you were oppressed by, because you lack the knowledge of it. On this channel as well, we're going to talk about a number of topics because everything, like I said, intertwines with each other. So we're going to get spiritual. I'm going to bring out the Bible, and I'm going to discuss some things that have to do with religion. I'm going to deconstruct a lot of things and also show you how to draw value from these things, even if they have created oppressed systems, because those oppressed systems often miss a lot of context, and that through that context, through that knowledge and understanding, you begin to unravel the irony in the entire situation, and through that irony you were able to also create. You realize the flaws. You realize the flaws in the entire system, and by realizing those flaws, whatever you are to create thereafter, you recognize what failed. So we're going to get into a number of topics. I'm going to get into a lot of things because, like I've said before, in my TikTok, if you've seen videos on TikTok, this world has multiple layers to it. It is both physical as it is spiritual. And you have to understand both of those things to really understand this message. This message that I am giving to you is not just one of observation of just the physical reality, but also that conscious understanding of self, of the spirit, of the spiritual reality that is happening as a layer underneath the physical. So like I said, we're going to peel back the layers. We're going to look back. We're going to deconstruct what has been taught. And through that deconstruction, through the ashes of the burning of the old things that we knew, the lies, the deceit, we take those ashes and we build with them.